Hello everyone, welcome to a short video where I'm going to make an update on my Urashima collection. Now it's been almost a month or so where I made a video talking about the releases I had from Urashima at the time, and now I've made an update in my collection. I've got two fairly recent releases that they put out in 2020, and I think that these are some of the most important works they've ever put out. It's about some CDs that I also think that in my opinion are put in some great packaging. So with that being said, I'm going to start with this box right here, which is Silver Box by Atrax Morgue. This is a compilation that contains 9 CDs from Atrax Morgue, and each one of those 9 CDs does not contain just one release. Each one of those CDs is full of content. There are contained albums, EPs, some sort of tracks here and there. There are definitely lots of stuff put together in this one box, and those are basically stuff that were previously being published by Urashima as black box and red box, which I didn't manage to buy at the time. Now I think they're like long sold out, but thankfully this thing is now out, having all of the CDs that were previously released right here, right now in the silver box, and I'm really glad I finally got it. I really like the box, this wooden packaging over here. This is the inside of it. There is this sort of little like insert or poster right here, which has this picture over there talking about Slaughter Productions, an orgy of nightmarish sounds. And Slaughter Productions is the label that Atrax Morgue had. And here we have the entire track listing, all of the albums which are contained, and there is also like timestamps. I think it is a very well done job done right there, and I definitely like that this is also contained. We have this right here, this image, which has this sort of like sticker over there. It says the amount of albums over there, and there is the signature. That's a really nice touch. And here we go. There are 9 CDs over there. I don't love each one of those albums that are contained, but there are definitely some very good works over there. And in general, it has some of the first and some of the later stuff from Atrax Morgue, and definitely some of my favorite stuff are put in there. I haven't heard anything so far from this collection, but there were definitely lots of highlights in order to make me buy the full thing, because it's definitely worth it. I would say that some of my favorite releases over there, from the ones I've heard, I definitely remember liking Necrophilia Experience. I think New York Reaper is one of my favorite ones. Cut My Throw, I remember that it was not one of my favorite ones. In Search of Death, Aesthetic of a Corpse, definitely that was one of the better releases. And actually, Death Orgasm Connector, this is one of my all-time favorite Atrax Morgue albums, and this is a release I would definitely like to have, and I'm really glad I finally got into buying this. The thing with Atrax Morgue's music is that I think it's one of the most haunting and one of the most disturbing examples you can find in power electronics music. There's definitely not something like that different, but this sort of DIY amateurish approach he had with all of the scenes and just the emotions he would put throughout his vocals. Listening to an Atrax Morgue album usually results in a very disturbing and a very claustrophobic experience. There is not like something particularly that makes me like really angry or really pissed, but the whole way he uses misanthropy and its dark elements just makes me feel so vulnerable. It is such a creepy and haunting experience each time I listen to an Atrax Morgue album. So for me, he's one of the better artists when it comes to power electronics, and this is definitely an essential work. There are so many different stuff, some great works contained in this whole thing, and I'm really glad I finally bought this. And the second release I have over here is probably going to become one of my favorite Japanese releases ever. And it's this album of Toshiji Mikawa, Radio Code, which is in this weird packaging, as you can see. Let's just get this thing out at first. As you can see, it is just put in this sort of black paper, plastic or something like that, and then you have the CD, which is just contained in this. This is pretty much the packaging where the CD is contained. Right there you have this insert right here with some information about the album, and it also has this, I don't know how to call it, this sponge thing, which I don't know if you can see it, but it's the letters over here embodied in this sponge. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a very interesting packaging to say the least. I wouldn't say that it's one of my favorites, especially because of the condition the CD is put into. However, I can definitely say it's one of the most DIY and definitely one of the most unique and intriguing packages I own. Now basically Toshiji Mikawa is the one half of the Incapacitants, and he has also been in other Japanese projects. But this album over here has actually some of my favorite works from him. This album is actually a tape from one of the releases from Incapacitants, which was called Project Palo 85, which is a work that they've done back in 1985, which was a triple cassette, and this is also something that Urashima did a repress, making a triple vinyl edition on the box, which is definitely a kind of more expensive purchase, but it was only the first tape that I really enjoyed a lot, and this is basically the one that's been played on Radio Code. It is the first tape being broadcasted in a radio station, and it was the first time playing this tape by a pirate session of a radio station in Amsterdam, if I'm not mistaken. It has an introduction of John Duncan speaking and giving an introduction of what the album is about. And the one thing that also changes with its release is the sound on this thing. If you listen to the main release, it is definitely more highly textured and more loud and more dynamic, which is basically lost throughout the recording of Radio Code. There are definitely textures missing, some frequencies, and it's a bit more muddy in its sound, but the ideas are still there and it still makes for a very solid experience. And having this CD, it actually sounds really well. It is quite loud and I definitely enjoy it, and I'm glad I have this in my collection as well. And with that very just weird and unique packaging. And that's pretty much all I have for today. This is my update on the Urashima albums I've got. These are two essential albums with some great CD packaging as always from Urashima. And yeah, that's all I have for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.